has been their undoing. They need a mark. Loose ball comes wide of the pack. It will run out of bounds. Good result for Carlton.
But it's the downside of having two very tall players down there. I mean, they're really... You've got to kick the ball above their head. It might be only tonight. They don't necessarily have two 200-centimetre players in there. Normally Goldstein and Hale, of course, are there at the moment. But certainly their tendency to just blast the ball into the forward 50 isn't working for them.
So Hale doing some wrap work. Thomas got it from Harvey. Good tackle by Simpson. Little give there by Harris. Gee, here's Robinson again.
Whoops.
Thomas picks himself up, so Robinson to the wing, Houlihan and Stevens. Urquhart did well against the odds.
North Melbourne have always been a long kicking side into their 50 though, and it's been very predictable, but they've just been good at it. They just haven't been able to get those a couple of contested marks or the front and centre crumbs that they normally do.
So Thompson to Urquhart.
Urquhart, a good running player off half-back. We like him. Towards Power, right on the 50, and Power slams it on the boot. It's floating towards the boundary line. It goes out on the full. Sam Power, not his best effort, normally uses the ball well. Made his debut for the Western Bulldogs against North Melbourne. Round 17, 2002, and his first opponent was Stuart Cochrane. In the back pocket, Jamison's got the footy.
How quickly you forget players, don't you?
Well, now and again, although I remember Stuart.
So do I.
Went to Port, worked hard. Now,
Central Districts as well.
Sometimes I bring them back to, I remember one day at Cardinia Park, I resurrected Austin McCrabb. He'd been retired for 5 years. I just gave him a run. He would have been at home. He dropped the remote, I'm sure. Funny what your mind does, Bruce.
Particularly yours.
Well, that's a bit unfair. The vagaries of old age. Here's Petrie. Just gets a hand pass away to Lower. Lower sends it down towards full forward. In front, a strong mark is taken there by Bauer. And you've got Goldstein and Hale in that pack. You would think North Melbourne have every right to believe the ball would come to ground.
You've got to get your hands to it first, Dennis, and they can't quite get to the ball of the ball.
So Gibbs, Bentley's been okay. He's had a fair bit of it. Kicked a goal. Talked a lot about Robinson. He's had a wonderful night. Johnson kicked a goal in that second term. Here's Thornton off half-back. Straightens up to Gibbs, who's been everywhere.
Play there, right there.
23rd disposal coming up. Jamison. So Scotland and Walker and Warnock, just three and Carazzo that can come back into this Blues lineup. Fisher probably, and then maybe whether O'Halpin can get there and one or two others, but there's still a few to come back.
There's some upside, and the young players in this Carlton side are showing a bit also, which is always encouraging.
Favola doing some ruck work. Cloak got a little tap. Thompson swings a wild handball. Gee, Robinson was again really good there on Urquhart. Petrie laid it off. Power tried to get it to Gibson, and again Robinson outstanding in there.
There's a go. He loves his footy.
Well, in the forward 50, sometimes just drawing a ball up is actually just as good as well, not as good as getting it yourself, because opposition are normally got extra blokes there. If you can actually ham it in, it's an enormously valuable bit of play.
And he almost plucked it clean, didn't he? He had it for a split second, then it came out. Now North have been penalised, and the kick will go to Cloak. Disappointing night for North Melbourne. No doubt keen to do well in the pre-season competition. Drive that membership up. The team in a state of flux, really. You're not sure which way they'll go. I would expect Carlton will be improved. Here's Cloak. As Bruce said, they've won a couple of pennants in recent years in the pre-season. It's turned to nothing. Cloak, sharp angle, gets the goal.
The one thing from the Kangaroos' point of view, I mean, just over the last couple of seasons, every now and again they put in shocker. I mean, they've been consistently good, finalists year after year, but then they'll have one game where they'll get beaten really easily. So they would be hoping that this is one of those rare occasions tonight.
Lee, they did that last year at the start with Essendon, and at the end when Port beat them by 76, and then in that final. So you're dead right.
Just an update on Daniel Pratt. He's about to board an ambulance downstairs here. They think that he may have cracked ribs or broken ribs, or he may have some kidney damage. So the outlook is not particularly good for him.
So a dirty night just got a little bit murkier for the Kangaroos.
I don't think the umpire was happy with that bounce.
It was Hayden Kennedy. I can't believe it.
Back again.
I think Cameron heard exactly what he said.
Mark Murphy, one of his former students, Mr. Kennedy.
You could stay in after class. Anyway, it wasn't a good bounce, was it? But able to throw it up.
That incident with Daniel Pratt, I mean, that's the one part of the game that's normally a little safer standing under the footy because you can't attack the bloke from behind. But as for Bowler did, if you jump at the ball from behind and sort of knee first, you're entitled to do that. You know, your back's a very vulnerable area to get that pointed, hard knee contact.
And that's why going back with the flight has always been considered such a courageous act.
And the rules have been sort of made to try and make it less dangerous, but it's still incidentally very dangerous.
Simpson. Backwards at Johnson on that trusty left.
They've done this well. They've kept their width out of defence and always had a player there for a wide switch, which helps them sort of find some space here for the run and carry.
Gee, they're teasing North here. I mean, Waite running hard to Stevens, to Jamison. So those defenders going forward just had a bit too much on the kick. Big year, you'd think, for this fella. Number 6, Lockie Hansen, taken very high in the draft into his 3rd season at the club. And the mark taken by Matt Campbell.
The bit I've seen of Hansen, he seems to be almost, while he's 197 centimetres, he marked the ball in his chest, he doesn't really look that good at his overhead skills. He doesn't look like taking a mark in a pack or even, you know, even full reach. He tends to get the ball sort of floating around as like a mid-sized player would do.
Harding gets a hand pass to Gibson, runs inside the 50 for 6 points, puts it through.
If I was Carlton during the week, I'd isolate this little bit of play. This is something they've done very well. But Nick Stevens on this occasion had a player running at him, and he was sitting off, and eventually he came at Harding here when there was actually a Carlton player pressuring him from behind. He gave Harding 2 options: use Josh Gibson, and they were able to run through 50 uncontested. But Stevens there committed to Harding when he didn't need to.
It's an unlikely goal kicker. They haven't had many tonight, just 5. Wells with a couple. Hale early did very well. He had 3 before half-time. So what can they resurrect from tonight, the Kangas, in the last 10 minutes or so? Can they string some goals together? That's something they haven't done all night. That picked off by that man again in Robinson, and then Judd should have got a free perhaps. Thomas, and then Garlett, good to smother by Cloak, and over the top by Swallow. Well done, Murphy. Cloak, Houlihan, and then Houlihan with that nice leg of his. Oh, good grab. Terrific grab taken by Garlett, and then Garlett coming in and can't quite finish it off, but he looks like he might be something, doesn't he?
Well, he could be something because he's not much at the moment. He's very skinny, but he's shown some very encouraging signs.
Anthony around the outer side. That's a telling kick. And you get the feeling this guy early in the season may finish up on the forward line. Petrie kicks it towards the kickoff line. Missed by Thornton. Zeebel's got the crumb. Snaps. He snapped it a long way, but it's good. Well done, Jack Zeebel.
Yes, the quick transfer from the kick in. Just Carlton have been playing an 18-man zone all night, which means there's no one playing on a direct opponent, just covering space, and the Kangaroos were able to link together.
I'll be disappointed there, Thornton. Zeebel's had a good night.
I had to laugh early in the call when Buck said that this boy reminded him of James Hird, because I spoke to a North Melbourne person yesterday, one of their coaching staff, and I said, who does this kid remind you of? And he said, it's Nathan Buckley. He's got the same intensity about him.
So he didn't remind me of him. He just looks like.
Would you rather look?